Hi, I'm Sol Littlefield. I'm here in Corona, California, and we're checking out the Fender American Professional Classic Telecaster. I think more often than not nowadays, people are really leaning towards wanting the vintage vibe on particularly teles. My favorite player has always had some sort of setup like that. It's funny, it actually reminds me a lot of the Highway 1 teles that I played in the 2000s, which I loved for that same reason, the radius. I feel like it's kind of essential to have a 9.5, really, if you're doing anything that involves bending. I feel with this, I could pretty much walk into any situation and do what I need to do. It covers all the bases. I think with a Butterscotch like this, I think that just brings back Blackguard 52. I think that's just how that speaks to people. They see that and they think of that as being the quintessential Fender Telecaster. Incidentally, my first ever Tele was a Squier Butterscotch model that I loved, even though it didn't look close to the original 52s. It just, to me as a 12-year-old, it had that aesthetic. And I've always associated that with it. And I think throughout the years, there's been many versions of that where people have done versions of that color. But I think a true Butterscotch like this is what people think of as being the 50s Telecaster look. These necks, they remind me so much of my favorite necks, which were the Highway 1 models that I grew up playing. With the satin finish that always feels right to me. Just feels very natural in your hand. The medium jumbo frets and the 9.5 radius. I think it's kind of a perfect mix between vintage and modern, really. On this, we've got these new tuners, which are like a hybrid vintage modern. They still have the look and feel of vintage tuners, but they're actually attached with a nut, so there's no screws on the back, which would be really interchangeable if you wanted to put locking tuners on. Actually, on the A and E strings, they're actually a little bit larger, so you can still get a bunch of winds. Yeah, to me, that's kind of perfect. With these Coastline pickups, we've got a 63 spec with a slight overwind, which to me is perfect because you're always going to want a little bit more output available. I found in the studio there are certain underwound pickups that lend themselves to certain applications, but these just have a little bit more bite to them, which is fantastic. Another feature that I really love that's carried over from the old Highway 1 series is this grease bucket tone control. These are great because they help you carve out highs without losing any gain or low end. So I find it's a lot more usable for lead parts and solos and such. It's got a very musical kind of sweep to it. Behind me, we got this Hotshot Telly in this beautiful faded Lake Placid blue. I've been spending some time with it, and it really reminds me of the Nashville Tellys from the 2000s, which I also grew up playing. I loved the idea of having a Strat pickup in the middle, just be able to get sounds, and all my favorite Telly players added a pickup. And it's same deal, it's got the 63 Coastline Telly pickups, but it's got a 57 Strat pickup in the middle, which is kind of a perfect combination. And that one sounds fantastic too. I think Fender USA is such a globally recognized brand that I think really anyone who's in the professional or semi-professional sphere or even playing locally is going to make an impression by having a US-made Fender instrument. And I think it's always been that way with these different tiers for, you know, what kind of level each guitar is at.